preparation. I have very little concern about it, to be quite honest with you.
NFL insider Jeremy Fowler joining us now with much more on this story on SportsCenter. What's the likelihood the Steelers will have Roethlisberger back for Sunday's game against the Bengals?
Well, Kevin, great to be with you. And the team feels fairly confident that Roethlisberger will continue to test negative on his COVID testing. Now, if he gets 5 straight days, he can return to the team Saturday. Now, they won't know until the morning of every day, but I'm told that he's been really diligent in this entire process to basically quarantine himself the last few months. He goes to and from work, goes home and hangs out with his family. So everybody feels confident that things will push through here. And as for the rest, you heard Mike Tomlin. The Steelers have had cases where Roethlisberger got 0 practice reps in a week, came out and threw for 400 yards. So this is a guy who gets lots of rest days, has various ailments. His knees are a little sore from that Cowboys game last week, so the rest will do him some good.
Okay, now let's go around the league. The NFL and the NFLPA, they've reported a total of 56 employees testing positive for COVID-19 in their most recent period. How concerned is the league as cases continue to rise around the country?
Well, people I talked to around the league say they aren't concerned because they did anticipate this recent increase as the fall ends and we get closer to the colder weather. But you're going to see some drastic changes, Kevin, as teams try to just power through here, get to a 16-game schedule in the playoffs. I think you're going to see cases where a player might have flu-like symptoms, a key player, and even though he's not testing positive for COVID, they sit him out anyways because teams don't want a case like the Steelers now have with Vance McDonald where he was feeling fine, now he tests positive, and now you have to isolate your quarterback and all these other moving parts. So the teams want to take the guessing work out of it. You're going to see more virtual meetings just for the heck of it. So I think the league is determined to Zoom meeting their way through this season right now.
Taking the necessary precautions as America is zooming their way through 2020. Jeremy Fowler zooming with us, the latest on the impact of the coronavirus in the NFL. Sage?
Baseball news, Kevin. Tony La Russa, the brand new manager of the Chicago White Sox, has been charged with a DUI stemming from an arrest 9 months ago. According to court records obtained by ESPN, La Russa was arrested in February in the Phoenix area, but the case was not filed until October 28th, 1 day before he was hired by the White Sox. The 76-year-old Hall of Famer had a blood alcohol content of at least 0.08, which is a misdemeanor. This is the second known drunk driving arrest for La Russa, who was reached by ESPN last night saying, quote, "I have nothing to say," end quote, and then he hung up. One of the arresting officers in the Phoenix area, he's part of the Arizona Department of Public Safety. This is what he wrote in his report. Before searching his person and placing him in the rear of my patrol vehicle, La Russa asked, "Do you see my ring?" I asked La Russa what he was talking about. La Russa stated, "I'm a Hall of Famer baseball person." While placing him in the rear of my patrol vehicle, La Russa stated, "I'm legit. I'm a Hall of Famer, brother. You're trying to embarrass me," end quote. PTI has thoughts on this story. Here's Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser.
All right, Wilbon, what should the White Sox do about Tony La Russa being charged with DUI?
Probably back out of the agreement that they have with him, Tony. I mean, being responsible and being accountable are seemingly, to me anyway, more necessary where we are in the culture now than ever before. And it's not enough to be accountable and responsible for a baseball game when you're explaining yourself afterward. Real life circumstances should count even more. Tony La Russa comes off as particularly stupid in this case, and he's not. We know that. But his "do you know who I am" routine upon his being arrested, and he's had all these weeks, even months, to figure somebody's going to come and ask me about this, and I need to be accountable, and he's gone the other way with this insane defiance and arrogance. And no, Tony, that shouldn't be tolerated. Not by the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf specifically, and if so, not by Major League Baseball.
So this starts out as a very sweet story, because Jerry Reinsdorf looks at the big mistake in his life with the White Sox, and it's letting Tony La Russa go, and then he goes on and he wins World Series in 2 different places. So he says, I'm going to hire him back, even though he's 76 years old, because he's a great manager. He's in the Hall of Fame. And everybody looks at the story and says, that's nice. And all they ask is, at his age, can he handle it? But this has been out there for months. Jerry Reinsdorf has known about this for months. And so what he is saying by not doing anything about it is I still want him. I still want Tony La Russa. And he has to listen now to the community in Chicago and find out what they are saying. And I suspect a lot of them will say something like this. How can he manage your team when he can't manage himself? It's not the first time. It's the second time. So I suspect it will end with La Russa not being the manager, though I was one of those people who thought what an interesting choice, and I'm rooting for him. But
Tony,
I didn't know
I
this
did
stuff.
too. I felt the same way. But you know what? La Russa could take the heat off of Jerry Reinsdorf. And Jerry felt a great loyalty, obviously, to La Russa by bringing him back and thinking he was the guy to take this team to a place that couldn't happen in the 80s when La Russa was there. But you know what? Let's see what La Russa's made of. Let's put the onus on him. He knew this was coming. Is he responsible for his behavior? And almost as important, is he responsible at all? Is he responsible? And right now, he's not demonstrating that he is. That's it.
So one last question for you.
What's that,
No,
Tom?
hold on. One last question for you. If he does that, if in a reasonable amount of time, 24, 48 hours, he comes out, tells the whole story, and says, I want to manage, I'll be responsible, is that okay with you?
It's a start in the right direction. Right now, he's going totally in the wrong direction, Tony. He's got to at least stop that before I'm willing to listen to anything that Tony La Russa has to say besides no comment, which is as lame as it gets. From a guy who's earned our respect in sports. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Tony, Mike, thank you so much. Still to come on SportsCenter. Kirk Herbstreit joins us live for more on #1 Alabama and LSU being postponed for COVID concerns and the potential impact on the college football playoff down the line. And we go back to the NFL. Jerry Jones said it would be crazy for the Cowboys to draft a quarterback in the first round of next